I need to feel the energy. All right, I want to say thank you first of all. R.P. Pops. Can we get a moment of silence for Pops, please, right quick? If everybody get this belly head. And just think and reflect on all the work he's did. All right, I appreciate y'all. Appreciate it. So I want to thank the party, thank the movement for getting me out here, help get me out here. It's an honor. It's been an honor being here, learning so much more than I thought I knew. You know, I'm getting here now. I ain't know nothing about the movement before yesterday. So I appreciate everybody, the panels. Y'all been dropping good knowledge. I'm soaking the game up, and I'm finna spread the word to as many souls as I can. Believe that. And so right now, before we start, in the culture, in the black culture, we are taught in the hood. We kind of taught to spend money. Everybody, we good at spending money, but it's harder to save it. So this first piece is called stacking money. I'm trying to stack now instead of just spending it and giving it away so easily. I want to circulate that in the community a little bit more. So I'm trying to stack right now. I ain't trying to spend too much more. Let's run it. Okay. Yeah, almost caught me in the mode now. I'm gonna start it now. All right. Yeah. I do all this myself. Yeah. All that. All right here. Once y'all hear it enough, I want y'all to sing it too. It's a stack of money. It's all good. This ain't me singing. You know I be stacking it. Since a little nigga, I been to go get it. I said I want, I'm snatching it. Mama crying cause daddy split. He hard to find like activists. I'm raising the gutter, come from the gutter. Believe me, I'm loose and I have shit. So my mission is stacking shit like a tennis match. I got racks out of here. I can't crash, dummy, no accident. Can't crash, dummy, no accident. I'm stacking chicken, boy, I'm magic with it. Got a backwards flipping, acrobatic with it. In a money race, I'm trying to laugh. The niggas ain't acting different, bitches black and different. Okay. I can see them bands forever young like Peter Pan. Real niggas never leave they man. Real niggas never leave they man. Your boy hot as hell, I might need a fan, man. All these drums, I might need a band. Only see the future, never see the past. Fuck with my fam, might beat your ass. My speakers blast, the pistol on me, I don't need to dance. I been as high, I don't need the tan. About to show my ass like I don't need my pants. And I'm blessed with it like I sneeze again. They feeling me like they don't need no hands. This world cold. I'm stacking money cause I see the plan. Okay. Stacking and stacking the money, money, stacking and stacking the money, stacking the money. Yeah, yeah. You know I'm stacking that money. next piece. Now I want to introduce y'all to this next piece. If y'all like that, let me hear it if y'all like that. All right. That's a little something, a little something. Yeah, a little town business. All right, now this next piece is Oakland based. I created this when it was a real spike in police killings. It was happening every day, man. We was all torn apart about it. I lost a friend actually to police violence. So this song it meant something deeper. So this song it comes from the heart. Every clip, everything you hear is from a real incident. Somebody lost their life. Every clip you hear is from a real incident. So I want to just let y'all know that. I put it together myself too. And pat my back. Run it.
There was trouble in Oakland, California last night, just across the bay from San Francisco. It began with a demonstration, and it turned... 2 deadly police-involved shootings in 2 separate cities.
We released video raising questions about why an unarmed man was shot and killed.
Get back now!
His hands are raised. The shooting is part of what they call an epidemic of unarmed people of color killed by police.
Listen. They riding around with that 4-pound, that shotgun, and they badge on, and they...
During the scuffle, one officer, later identified as Johannes Messerly,
riding around 4 deep, hopping out on Tuesdays and Thursdays,
pulls his gun and shoots Grant.
They hopping out, they riding through, cause the block on fire like a soul too. I'm just sitting up top trying not to get knocked, cause I need more green than Whole Foods. They hopping up with that bulletproof vest with their guns out, nigga, and they trying to shoot shit. They just fuck with a nigga, cause the nigga too fresh, and inside the soul, they really hate me. Yeah, they hate, they can't break me. Matter of fact, they mad, they can't make me. See me in the streets, they stop me and detain me. Police shopping for a nigga like Macy's. Fuck the pigs in all them cases. We don't fuck around with no bacon. Say we tired of losing our babies. I say we tired of losing our babies. See the pain in all their faces. And we pray the Lord to come save us. Well, he don't hear what we saying. It's like he don't hear what we saying, yeah. Cause niggas dying every day, man. The police out here playing hangman. The game cold, no playing. Only one way out and one way in. And they badge on and
you told him to get his ID, sir, his driver's license.
R.I.P. on Tuesdays.
You can see one officer drawing his gun, and moments later, shots fired.
Oscar Grant, badge on and they alert.
Every time you see me, you want to harass me, you want to stop me.
4 deep, hopping out on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm on a run with it. Jump, hit the fist, don't miss. Gun on my hip, can't slip, won't snitch. Back against the wall every time they blitz. I'ma stand tall like fuck them pigs. 7 years I had cuffs on wrist. 7 years I ain't see my kid. 7 years 7 years. After 400 years they still picking through us. We supposed to act like we ain't get them bruises. I'ma keep it straight. You know the system crooked, cause before you look up you in central booking. Now mama crying, wife crying, cause it's 25 and we get it. Since I try to tell my niggas, listen, these laws are set up to go against us. We at war within our own states. It's going down May Day. Cause the cops know if they kill a nigga, they get a pay in a payday. But how would they like it if we got the rifles and brought the drama to a day state? Where their wives sleeping, where their babies lay and put the K9 in and they badge on and they...
During the scuffle, one officer, later identified as Johannes Messerly,
riding around 4 deep, hopping out on Tuesdays and Thursdays,
pulls his gun and shoots Grant.
They riding around and that shotgun and they badge on and
you told him to get his ID, sir, his driver's license.
Riding around 4 deep, hopping out on Tuesdays and Thursdays. R.I.P. to all the fallen soldiers taken by enemies.
Now, the decision on whether or not that officer will face charges, federal or state, could take weeks. In the meantime, that officer is on paid leave. Guys, back to you.
Real talk. I appreciate y'all for having me.
His hands are raised.
These are real incidents. People lost their lives.
Oh, you're good! Get back now!
People lost their lives. Real talk.
Stay in control.
Let's make a change. I appreciate y'all again. Appreciate it.
Uhuru. Uhuru. Town business right there. Straight out of Oakland. Yeah, give it up again. Give it up again. Black the difference. Uhuru. Okay, so as Kalambai was talking about earlier, FOFEED is the International Economic Development Coordinator for InPDUM, and she's gonna come and we're gonna do a presentation on Uzi, on the clothing line that y'all just seen. And so, okay. So yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and get into the Uzi presentation. Okay. You ready? Okay, let's go. Hey, let's have a round of applause for FOFEED.
I'm doing the call for resources. Okay, comrades, how are you? You know, yesterday we called for $10,000. We were a little short of that. This is the call for the resources. And we figured that if we could get one person to upgrade to one level of the funding resource list, we would make our goal and a little bit over. One person per level, and this morning we did get one. Where is he? Jason became a member this morning, and that's one. So, what I am asking is for us to make this goal of $10,000. It will make everything easier for everyone. We can get the president to where she needs to go to build the ACG on the tours. We can get members different places where they need to be, and there are many strategies that we need to get this done. We sent a letter last night out to ask for your commitment and your heart that's in your pocket to be a part of this and this goal. And we need to make this goal today because this is our convention. We'll be back next year with bigger and better things. We have a hot press, which is going to bring more revenue. We have Uzi, which we'll give to you in all shapes and sizes. We will be doing different events all over the country, but to do this, this is your InPDUM, and it's yours because it's everybody's in the world. This is how we give back. So we need 1712, and we can get one person to upgrade or become a member in the next level, we'll make this happen. If somebody want to do the student level, one person. Online, you can also donate. Go to InPDUM.org and donate, become a member, and we will be watching you. We'll be watching you because this is how much we raised so far? $8,288. Okay, that makes us $1,712 to our $10,000 total. Uhuru, we'll take your cash donation right now. But this yearly this yearly sustainer is the one thing that let us know we're going to make it to the next day. We went out we had a convention 2 years ago. And since that time, we've done things that without a convention, which meant we struggled, which is the name of this convention, because we struggle, and we're not going to struggle anymore, because you know what? We're going to make everything that we're supposed to. And 10,000 is just a drop in the bucket to get us started. How much? Uhuru! Uhuru! Yes! Uhuru! Uhuru. You know what? You can always donate after you leave. And we do have card swiping, so we can use your credit card. You don't have to have dollars in your hand right now, but I just want to put it out there. I would like to, yes? Okay.
I want to say something about this amazing kid. Chairman he always see the kids. And he's sitting next to another amazing kid, Zion. And so, and Zay asked Zion that he want to up his membership. He said, I don't know how much it costs. And then Quadro pulled out his card and said, $10 a month. He recruiting already. That's how you recruit. Okay, they sitting, they recruiting.
Uhuru, uhuru. Now I know we're gonna make it. By the end of the convention, I will let you know exactly how we came to our goal and surpassed it. Uhuru? Uhuru. At this time, I would like the NCC to come up. Oh, yes. All right, uhuru, uhuru. All right, comrade, thank you. Uhuru, yes. Okay. All right, uhuru. Uhuru, Mama Washington. Uhuru, Zion. You know, that's the real comrade. Zion is the real comrade. Somebody call me? Uhuru! Give everybody that left yesterday and was in line, some people did not fill out their donation cards. We need those cards so we can get a correct amount that's coming in. You'll know and we'll know. So if you still got your card and you did not put it in the basket, please hold up your hand and we'll get it. We'll have my basket passer to pick it up. Okay? All right. Where did she go? I want to thank you. And like I said, at the end of the day, we'll give you a total. Can I have the... Uhuru. Okay, thank you, comrade. He upgraded. Uhuru. Can we, okay, You can always get us in the back if you want to give us more money, okay? Now I want to ask the NCC, InPDUM's NCC, to come to the stage. The IEC. Ooh, wrong one. IEC. Where's the president? She went upstairs. I need the president. You bring the bag. Fist up. Fight back. Fist up. Fight back. Touch one. Touch all. Touch one. Touch all. Ease wele tu. E Africa. E Africa. Ease wele tu. Uhuru. I think my favorite chant is touch one, touch all. I'm a nurse, so when I touch one, I'm making them better. So to touch one of our people is touching each of us. And if I make one child better, then in turn, we'll make another child better. I was waiting for, would you ask President to come down, please? She coming? Okay. Is all of us up here?
So when we had the fashion show, my male models, they was upstairs still through the whole show. I tell you, man, you gotta tell them to go left, right. Man, you hear me? I did not put a woman in the room. Come on out, that ain't bird, that one, come on. See how important women are to the revolution. Give it up for our Oh, man. Woo. Listen, I couldn't believe it. They said, I said, I did put them in the room there. Woo! No. All right, thank you. Thank you. Oh, man. Okay.
The IEC. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Aha. They having meetings outside the meeting. Yeah, yeah. Okay. I was one of the originals with Columbia when the chairman came to St. Louis for the Ferguson incident, the Ferguson murder. And since that time, I hadn't seen her. I didn't know who she was. I didn't know anybody but Denise, who called us together. So from that time, I have watched, and this is my cousin. Okay, that's cousin chairman. But anyway, I've watched Columbia go from her doja to Columbia and Danette to the international. No, that's not enough. That word is not enough to describe her, because she sleep, eat, and bathe in InPDUM. I'm serious. She does. And I collected her as a daughter. which a lot of the poets in the area call me Mama 4 Feet or Poet Mama or whatever. But she has grown by leaps and bounds, and I've watched it. I've watched it. And her leadership that got her there has been monumental in getting InPDUM and leading us through, leading her to where we are. And I'm telling you, I'm fired up. We're going somewhere, y'all. We're going somewhere that they ain't gonna even find us. And then at the same time, they're gonna find us in every corner. Who you with? I'm InPDUM. Okay? And because I was there when she became the president, and because Chairman saw in her what we're seeing now, we would like to show our appreciation to Columbi. And her favorite phrase is,
"The harder we go in so-called peace, the less bloodshed and war."
and look, I ain't trying to spill no blood, so we're going hard.
That's someone else's quote. But
I know.
I always said it.
We know it's someone else's quote, and we received it. We received it from her because we didn't know, we knew who it was, but she used it and she embodied it. And we would like to, you know that little picture you got yesterday? We got, this is the first time Columbi became president and chairman.
All right. Look how young I was.
And because the chairman gave us InPDUM, because chairman gave us InPDUM, and he's leading it with such Uzi style and Uzi swag, we want to say thank you, Chairman. Uhuru. This is the one thing Columbi didn't know about.
Which is hard.
Yeah, it's really hard. Oh, thank you, Chairman. Moving to the next. Is it our presentation? Yeah. Okay. Now it's time for the Uzi presentation so we can show you where we're going, where we've been, where we are, and where we're going. Can I ask the other OED, the Office of Economic Development personnel to come up? I hope you enjoyed that beautiful fashion show. Yes. All right. We love these. I love Uzi. I love Uzi. I am not a I'm not a merchandiser. Okay, I buy merchandise, but I don't know how to sell. But Columbi said, you just got to jump in and do it. And I guess I just jumped in and do it. But keep in mind, we're looking for a whole Uzi staff to help us take this out to where it really needs to be and make it, grow it to capacity. Okay. I need this slide. I'm trying to find the slide. Okay. All All right. Uzi is a thread of freedom. And this was given to InPDUM through to Deputy Chair Ona Zane, Yeshitela. And we appreciate her. And we have a gift for her too when we see her, because the President, Ona Zane, is the Deputy Chair, is awesome. Uzi, which means a thread of freedom, is committed to bringing African people into political life by empowering them through fashion and culture. Uzi developed economic institution is in order to organize Africans to fight for democratic rights in their communities. If I turn like this. Okay. That's such as the right for housing, assembly schools, and protection from police violence, merging artistic expression with political theories, which makes the saying the economic and political are one. We will organize working class Africans to become self-determined people, because self-determination is the highest form of freedom. Who's behind Uzi? First of all, it's President Columbi, who is the designer. Uhuru, you saw that. Then we have Marissa Martinez, which is the secretary, and she keeps me online and we get the things done. We have Megan Marshall, who is the on-the-ground coordinator that helps me with what needs to be done here in Uzi. And it's myself, 4 Feet Alkebulan, which is right now I am sitting kind of chair until that can be done with a well-organized person that we're looking for. Uhuru. What have we been up to? Next we'll have Marissa.
I know I'm not supposed to touch this. Okay. All right, Uhuru. Okay, yes. So I'm going to take you through the history of Uzi. This is a fantastic flyer to show. It's about the first day, the first Uzi Fashion Day fashion show on May 1st, 2016. And thanks to the leadership of the Office of Deputy Chair, Ona Zane Yeshitela, and InPDUM's International Executive Committee, InPDUM launched its revolutionary custom clothing line, Uzi, A Thread of Freedom, on May 1st during a special Infinity speed dating night and fashion show in St. Louis, Missouri, the home of the rebirth of the African Revolution. This night empowered the African working class through fashion and culture. All right, so InPDUM goals. InPDUM goals are to build dual and contending power. And Uzi is InPDUM's biggest project for economic development to date. The goals for Uzi are to help sustain InPDUM's growth and expansion and to bring African working class back into political life. Next slide. All right, what makes Uzi different? Customization. We can transform your favorite items into something new and exciting, and we can give you that revolutionary swag, look, and feel. InPDUM has rebranded what fashion should look like in a revolutionary sense, scouting unique pieces of gently used clothing. We also accept donations, and we turn them into something truly special and revolutionary. I already have I brought 3 pairs of pants. The majority of what I'm wearing, what I brought in my backpack, it's going to be customized. So I want some jeans that are going to get customized. All right, so what we have here is 3 of the cuts that we have. The heavy Huey cut. It's a high-waisted. This right here is a high-waisted graystone washed straight with straight slits, big holes, and those are size 29 and a length of 30 inches. The next is the ass-kicking Asada cut. Big holes, revolutionary sayings, and revolutionary design. And we can take any pair of jeans, if you send them here, they can be customized to your liking. And then here's the backwood haircut, and that is bleached, non-uniform cuts, and high-waisted. All right, next slide. Okay, we have the Marvelous Marcus cuts. You can take any of these items and they can get African fabric and studs. Just design it the way you want it and it can happen. All right, we have some revolutionary style bags that have printed, the patches are hand stitched, complementing your Uzi fashion item. And then we have the Militant Malcolm cut, threaded holes, and clean cuts. All right, so here is a model for one of the fashion cultural fusion fashion shows. And really trying to brand Uzi. Here's a great outfit, long dress, one piece, and it looks great. And so basically we want you to become a part of this important economic and political institution of this movement. Uhuru. And next is Megan to take you to the present.
Uhuru, comrades. So I'm going to talk about what we're doing right now with Uzi. So we have cultural fusion fashion shows. We have cultural fundraising events. We have Facebook pop-up sales, Keep 28 Sunday rally vending, Uzi distribution kits, and building a Uzi distributor base. Here is a slide of an example of our Uzi fashion shows that we have right here at the Uhuru House. Next slide. Here are some pictures of our fashion show with our Uzi models. And a few more pictures of our fashion show right here at the Uhuru House. And this is an example of one of our fundraising events, 65 Seasons. We had a great time at this event, Fofi's birthday fundraiser. And here is a flyer, a Facebook flyer for our custom clothing, Uzi custom clothing pop-up sale, where we do a live and we'll have custom clothes for purchase. And another flyer of a fashion show that we did with the cultural fusion theme. Next slide. So the Uzi distribution kit and building economic development. The Uzi distribution kit serves several purposes. One, economic opportunity for InPDUM branch's local organization. Two, steady stream of income to maintain organizational structure for the organization. Three, selling Uzi merchandise locally broadens our brand and reach the masses. Four, selling Uzi vending is an engaging way to do outreach in the African community. So this slide is an example of what can come in an Uzi kit, but so it shows you the prices, and it's $150 value for $85, but we're doing it where we'll have custom Uzi kits for things that might sell better in your area. Next slide. Besides the merchandise, each Uzi kit will include a letter thanking our members for supporting Black Power and participating in InPDUM's economic institution, an inventory of all items, a price list of all items, suggestions for eye-pleasing setup of merchandise, and 5 free Uzi buttons. So you can become an Uzi distributor today, and you can have Uzi at your next event. And this is a great example of how to set up an Uzi table. Also, we have the Uzi table in the back if you'd like to check that out. And where is Uzi at now? Next slide. You can find Uzi at Zenzele Consignment in Huntsville, Alabama. And also Uhuru Furniture and Collectibles in Philly and Oakland. Also, the Norm office has Uzi wrist candy available. And last but not least, InPDUM local branches. That's where you can find Uzi. Uhuru.
The goal of Uzi's future is to put it everywhere where you can find Uzi and say, I've been Uzi'd. Okay, back to the future. Uzi's goal is to increase vending in every area, not only at movement events, but at events like local poetry events, at fashion shows, in stores that are doing like events, and we're doing marketing. There's a marketplace here in St. Louis that's rather large. Uzi will be vending from that spot at least 2 to 3 times a week. We'll be having Uzi located at the InPDUM office that you visited yesterday. How many people saw the office? All right. Hurrah. We will have more online opportunities for online marketing with our pop-up Uzi stores, and eventually we'll have our fashion shows too. We'll increase Uzi distribution with anybody that really want to become a distributor. We will give you the information. The goal of that is for you to, it's a 50, a 60, 40 cut. It brings in income and it spreads Uzi. You also have the propaganda from the organization. You can do recruiting. You can do membership drives, and the Uzi can be there to be a part of your economic income. Now, our main goal is to build Uzi to capacity. To build Uzi to capacity means that Uzi will become an entity with its own board. It'll have a chair, it'll have a designer, it'll have a secretary, but that's coming. That's coming. Uzi will be present in the InPDUM office, and along with the other movement things, ABDAP, Decolonase will be at the office along with the Uzi, and the chairman's books. You done just went off and left me. Okay, on the ground, we will be found at Grand Slam Marketplace, One Nation, One Africa Marketplace. We'll be at many vending events, online sales, I covered that. You know, Chairman said concentrated economics. Politics is concentrated economics. So that means wherever Uzi is sold, there's a political fact to it. You've got to have your burning spear. You've got to have your sign-up sheet, because you're going to get names. You've got to put the line out, because that's what we do. We just meet them at another level. We have a hot press now. So as you can see, these lovely T-shirts, we will increase business, and we'll be pressing our own Uzi things. Hooroo. And if you have something you want done, give us a call. We got you. Now, I was taught by my 2 leaderships, everything has an end, to what end. We don't do Uzi just to make you look cute and give you some reasonable clothes. We make Uzi because we want to bring people into political life. Fashion is one way, along with the other creative arts that we have. So get into them with tough sayings that Columbia be putting out and these wonderful cuts, and you know what? We'll have them. We'll have people. We'll get them in. What Uzi needs, the area that we need Uzi is, okay. If you will go in your folder, there is a Uzi flyer. Please pull it out. Okay. If you're interested in becoming a part of Uzi, or even being a part, just a volunteer, we need designers like Mr. Fly. We need designers, we need reporters, we need photographers, we need media personnel, we need management, we need every area of marketing. We need you in Uzi, and we need you in InPDUM, because you need to know the political line, and we'll make it happen. Call us at InPDUM.org, contact us, and we'll get you into Uzi. We will, last thing I want to say is that for a kit, it can be personalized, like Megan said, to fit your area. Give us a call. Uhuru. We're doing the damn thing.
Ease where they to.
E-Africa.
E-Africa.
Ease where they to.
Fist up.
Fight back.
Fist up.
Fight back.
Uhuru.
Uhuru.
Y'all, I'm hollering because I'm trying to stay up right now. It's been kind of long, but it's been fun. It's been really fun. Like, I walked in the door and I'm like, okay, I'm back. What can you say? Next up, we're going to have the reparations workshop, which is going to be led by Ushindi Watu. You ready, Ushindi? Uhuru. Keep 28. Keep 28. Make the South Side. That's right, Uhuru.
Uhuru, comrades. Tell you about good leadership. They push you out there, outside of your comfort zone. Well, we're going to do this. In the meeting, Columbia said, Ushindi, do the reparations workshop. I said, me? This is different than talking about strategies and outreach and stuff. This is a strategy, though, and that's when I did the workshop, that's what I saw. So the title is Reparations, a Mass Concrete Demand of the African Working Class. Next slide, please. My name is Ushindi Watu. I'm the InPDUM Outreach Coordinator from Newark, New Jersey. Next slide. So I want to just shout out my leadership, shout out the party, Chairman Amali Yesatella and the NCC, President Columbia and the IEC. This convention, which is the highest organizing body of InPDUM, Comrade Gaeta Cambone, who gave me a great conversation to put this out, and how to really internalize this workshop. And also Comrade Maritza, who just jumped to the task to help me organize it and get it so you can see it as well. Next slide. So we don't want reparations is like not in the hands, not a handout from the government, you know what I mean? So Democratic Party is trying to get in front of and define reparations as a handout or a come up. That's how I'm seeing it defined by these other sources, these other people. Other groups still identify it as, these people that call themselves American slaves. And they're prepared to receive the reparations and talk about reinvestment. And really, to me, it sounds like they just want to put it back into into capitalism and colonialism, you know. So the like President Columbi say, you know, she always calling out Lil Ray Ray and Pistol Starter. I want to shout out Trub, Doughboy, Fat Boy, YG. It's always like 5 YGs, that's young gunners in every neighborhood. But you don't want, you know, they don't want them to have, know about reparations or have reparations, because what'll happen is young gunner going to take his reparations, you know, so they kind of want to define it and get in front of it. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned, the American slaves, descendants before who come across, who, you know, some of us seem reparations discussion as a way as to separate. They always, I see that too, in discussion where they, you know, they're coming at like people from, Africans from other countries, using this as like, well, Americans are, you know, harder workers, and I hear all kind of nonsense. So, you know, that's not what reparations are for. And the reparations discussion should involve Africans on the continent and all Africans whose descendants were captured and dispersed everywhere in the world as capital. So that's something that I hear chairmen speak all the time about. You know, it's not a question of just, you know, just for Americans, you know, slaves, or it's for everybody. Next slide. So reparations should be a function of the African Revolution. So the question of reparations should, you know, unify the masses and advance the revolution. Next slide. And it should be led by the African working class. It's the African working class who should lead this discussion, not the petty bourgeoisie, whose interest is to advance only themselves to be comfortable in colonialism. Next slide. So InPDUM must organize the masses around this question. I don't think, from what I'm hearing, nobody else can organize this, you know, for the African working class, you know, but the work of InPDUM and how we get out there. And like Columbi, you just said, it is a strategy. So next slide. So in 1982, the party initiated the World Tribunal on Crimes of U.S. imperialism against African people in the U.S. The tribunal weighed evidence and rendered its judgment after 3 days of testimony. So I had a conversation I said before with Gaeta, who discussed with me in details the party's work in the past on reparations. So the party's work in advancing the question of reparations by taking it out of the courtrooms and universities and placing it in the hands of the African colony. Next slide. The party was the first to put the U.S. on trial for genocide based on several United Nations world charters used to legitimize the character of genocide. And the party's strategy was to make reparations a mass and concrete demand by launching a worldwide reparations movement. So the next video is the, I don't know if that's the video, Conrad. It's in the link in the notes if you can see it. You don't have it?
A 2-day process which is remarkable. On today, we are initiating a 2-day process which is remarkable and historic in its implications for the use of international law as a means of addressing the crimes against oppressed people who do not have the benefit of state power and the use of national and international courts, which are traditionally only available to those groups who do possess state power. On today, we are initiating a 2-day trial of the United States government for crimes it has committed against the black or African population of the United States.
So that's just the introduction. video that I found on YouTube. Well, I actually found it on, I didn't find it on YouTube. I found that on the Burn and Spear website. And it's just an introduction, chairman of the reparations. So the next, and I don't know if it could be able to be queued up, I hope so, is just a slideshow of people who participated in the tribunal, and I had some instructions on the audio. Yeah, and then the audio is supposed to kind of like play in the background of the slideshow. All right. So we could just look at the slideshow. It was the audio that was just kind of introduction to the tribunal. There go our chairman. Comrade Gaedo, hooroo. Comrade Gaeta made me join the party. I remember when I said that, and K-Feen said, she made you join the party. These are just different strategies that came out from the, all right. Found out I was related to Linda Jeffries at my uncle's funeral, too. All right, we can move forward. All right. Free Dusty Woods. It would have been better if I had the audio playing, but it's you know. Yeah. Okay, so the international panel of judges handed down the verdict, and the People's Advocate Chairman O'Malley Yeshiteta read the verdict. Next slide. So charge number 1 is the U.S. guilty of genocide against African people in the U.S. as defined by the UN Convention on the Prevention of a Crime and Genocide, and it was guilty by unanimous vote. Charge number 2 is the U.S. guilty of violations of the UN Charter as it relates to its treatment of Africans in the U.S. And again, guilty by a unanimous vote. Charge number 3 is the U.S. guilty of violations of the spirit and intent of International Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination. And again, guilty by unanimous vote. And charge number 4 is the U.S. guilty of violations of the spirit and intent of the International Bill of Human Rights. Once again, guilty by unanimous vote. So the audience was made up largely of African people, and they broke out in spontaneous and sustained applause. Probably the first time a guilty verdict in a legal proceeding in the U.S. has been greeted with joy by African people in the last 400 years.
All right, so the judgment from the panel on punishment and/or rectification. So one, are American people in the U.S. due reparations from the U.S. government? And of course it was yes, unanimously. Should imprisoned black revolutionaries be granted political prisoner and prisoner of war status based on the Geneva Convention and in other UN determinations? Again, yes, unanimously. Does the U.S. treatment of Africans in the U.S. represent a serious breach of the UN Human Rights Charter to justify eviction of the U.S. from the UN? Yes, unanimously. And does the testimony and documentation presented at the tribunal justify the establishment of a permanent international body to monitor U.S. treatment of African people in the U.S.? Yes, unanimous vote. So the African working class mobilizing and leading. So the tribunal resulted in forming the African National Reparations Organization. 12 consecutive years holding reparation tribunals to win the people. In 1976, created the African People's Solidarity Committee. Through the reparations demand, the party is winning thousands of whites to conscious participation in the assault on white nationalist colonialism. And in 2008, the Black is Back Coalition for Social Justice, Peace, and Reparations. In 2015, InPDUM led Africans Charged Genocide Winter Encampment Tour. In 2017, Ballot and the Bullet, running on a platform of reparations and economic development in the black community in St. Pete's. Just to go back just a little, you don't have to go back. One thing I want to say is, and what I just noticed in the last presentation, and like, first of all, if we're going to do a PowerPoint on this dynamic campaign ran by Kile, it's going to, like, we need a whole nother PowerPoint for that. But I just wanted to speak to that in this presentation because, like I said, Kile was the first reparations candidate, and that's really historical. That's something that's never been done. That's been done by, you know, the party and the party organizations. And, you know, we're winning. And we just, you know, I want to say that, you know, we're winning. And it's just the strategy of the party that's just amazing, that we're hitting all these different areas within the reparations question. Well, it's still more work to do. So reparations became a part of African culture. It became like an everyday thing to be talked about. I started hearing terms around reparations in the late 80s in rap music. I also started hearing this term 40 acres and a mule, 40 acres and a mule all the time. And how it was just, how it was defined to me is that, you know, Africans or black people was promised through the end of slavery that they were supposed to be get 40 acres of land and a mule, and nowadays that's supposed to quantify to a whole like, you know, a whole lot of money. And that's how it was taught to me back in the day. But it was the party who really, you know, now doing this work and even doing this presentation that really spoke to the reparations question in a real strategic way. Like, it's not just 40 acres and a mule. It's not just a brand new Cadillac. You know, and you could, next slide. So yeah, so reparation, what it is and what it's not. So it's not a brand new Cadillac. It's not a way to pay off your school loan. It's not, you know, something to use, you know, in any way. It shouldn't advance capitalism. It should actually be a strike against colonialism. So the African working class is the strategy, and that's what President Colombo, you just yelled out. So InPDUM formed in 1991 by the party to defeat the counterinsurgency against the African colony and defend democratic rights of African people. The African working class, which has no stake in moving the people for any reason other than their complete and absolute liberation, must take the initiative in the struggle against imperialism. The APSP, InPDUM answers to what end? What we want, what we believe. Point 11 of the APSP party's platform reads, we want the U.S. and the international European ruling class and states to repay Africa and African people for the centuries of genocide, oppression, and enslavement of our people. So the way forward. Coming out of this convention, InPDUM, we have to organize around this question and bring leadership to reparations to the people, to the masses. We have to be the ones to win unity around, within the African working class around the reparations question. We need to build, and I've been hearing this term, it was in my sponsorship as well, build a social movement as broadly as possible around reparations. So that's going to be, the strategy moving forward of InPDUM. And charge the U.S. and the international European ruling class with genocide against African people. We need to form working groups and continue to hold tribunals around the country and around the world, and sign the Africans Charged Genocide petition. So we need to get out there, get that petition signed, and because it's in relation. Africans Charged Genocide is part of the reparations discussion. And fill out, I want my reparations now certificate, which I'm self-critical, didn't get a chance to get the certificate made up. I got some ideas for it. It should be like a real legalized, but working class legal tender demanding reparations. Uhuru. Are we doing Q&A now, or?
Uhuru, I think it's important to note that the tribunal itself came out with a position on what should happen with the reparations verdict, with the guilty verdict from the World Tribunal on reparations for the African people in this country. And there were some specific things, because this thing about fighting to win reparations, it's been won. This thing about investigating to see whether there should be reparations, we did the 2-day process here where experts from various aspects of life came and testified. That was the basis for the tribunal being able to make the judgment that the United States was guilty and that reparations are due to African people. I think you should look for that book, the name of which is Reparations Now. And the verdict was laid out, the process was laid out, testimony was laid out in there, and it said specific things that we are responsible to do. And that verdict has already been given down. In fact, what now calls itself a reparations movement should be called on to recognize what has already been done in the verdict that's already come forward. So I'm suggesting that it's really important. You can probably get in touch with my office and at minimum get a copy of that book. It's out of print now, but it can, there's one that can be copied, or what do you call it when you make the copy that's scanned and sent to us. I think that's a really important thing to do. And I wish I'd known that you did not find the certificate, because we did this before. Some of this, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. I mean, the truth is that we set up a process where Africans everywhere, and you should have possession of that, could indicate, first of all, they should sign up and agree that they want their reparations. And not only do they want their reparations, but that InPDUM is the representative that should receive the reparations for African people. We need thousands of signed documents like that. In the past, we even got one from Michael Jackson, who said that he wanted his reparations. And so I'm just saying that this is the kind of work that can be done. It doesn't even take a lot. I mean, on every table that we have, anywhere we are located, African can stand up and say, yeah, I want my reparations, right? And this serves a number of purposes for us. One, it gives us an army of force that unite with the reparations demand, whose contact information we have possession of. Two, we got all these signatures of people who not only want reparations, but they identify InPDUM as the organizations that should be the recipient of the reparation that represents African people for these reparations. So that's not a little thing, that's a big old thing. That should have, yeah, that's something that we need to take on. So get that copy of that, Comrade President, Comrade Ushindi, get that, because we've already done that, and it says specific things that should be happening. Call on the African community to do specific things. We created the international institution, for example. That's why for 12 years in a row, we were having hearings all around the United States about this tribunal from African people about the conditions that we were experiencing in this country. That kind of stuff has been done. We should get the benefit of that. Uhuru.
Uhuru. I really want to appreciate Chairman's intervention, and I am extremely self-critical because this is not exactly the workshop that we had discussed. We worked with Gaida Carbone and talked with her around what Chairman was laying out, and so what we wanted to win, because that's what we had been discussing as IEC. My whole IEC will tell you that this whole convention had to be how we move forward, that I wanted everybody to be armed to the teeth, to be able to lead this convention and know exactly what they need to do in their areas of work, and it all ties together. It's not separate issues. And part of your table and outreach, part of that strategy is these certificates. And this workshop's supposed to be arming you on exactly how to get these petitions signed and have them on your table, how to go into your community and do that. So that one part, that's what the whole presentation should have been about. So we're gonna overturn that contradiction and make that happen. And because this is the opportunity. When you at the convention, this is where you get to win your base, your base to be able to be armed to the teeth. So we gotta overturn that contradiction and get that certificate and the whole layout so they could be on your tables. Because one of the things that we talked about in the branch building workshop is tables. Like we gotta be out and we have to do tables. And one of the things that you would have on your table is this reparations certificate. Uhuru.
Uhuru. See, I think it's really important with every opportunist and his uncle talking about reparations now in a way that would liquidate the real struggle of what reparations is about in terms of possession of the masses of the people. We claim it. We take it back. We say that a tribunal was held, a trial of the United States government, while people are going to the U.S. Congress saying that please do a study to see if we should get reparations. Said the study's been done. We had a trial. This thing happened in 37 years ago. We had a trial. The United States government was put on trial 37 years before this thing happened. So to suddenly have discovered reparations and then to go to the U.S. Congress, we just had a presentation on a panel here yesterday that just quantified a whole bunch of value, a whole bunch of resources, a whole bunch of land and everything stolen from African people. We showed how in 1865, January 1st, some kind of field order 15 was turned over 40 some odd miles of land to African people after the Civil War, after the so-called end of slavery, and to give it to African people. And then they took it back. We have the experience of what they call Reconstruction, where African people were now supposed to be free and we were supposed to be able to go into the government and all this kind of stuff. And then they double-crossed us some 11 years or something like that. Afterwards, they double-crossed us, put the Klan on us, convict lease, and all this other kind of stuff. And they want to forget that, or they want to dismiss that, and they want to tell us that we should put our fate back in the hands of the United States government again. And what we are saying with this demand, with the work that we do, we put the demand back in the hands of the people. so that all kinds of people can stand and say, yeah, I want my reparations. We don't have to take it to the Congress. We take it to the people. We take, like, what did Malcolm X say? You don't go take your court to your case to the criminal. You take your criminal to court. And we took the criminals to court in 1982. And so I'm just saying that, I'm not saying we stop anything else that anybody else is doing. But what I am saying that this is a contest between the masses of people, the African working class, and the bourgeoisie and petty bourgeoisie. I want the petty bourgeoisie to demand reparations. I want them to not kick on the door because we're going to go through it. We're going to knock it down. You understand? But to knock it down, then we have to bring the masses of people into this struggle on their own terms and not on the terms that's established by the petty bourgeoisie. You see what I'm saying? And so if we're on every table, everywhere we go, Africans can sign up demanding their reparations, and InPDUM will get my reparation. It solves the question that people want to ask, well, who's going to get it? The people said, we got petitions here from 300,000 African people said, InPDUM going to get it. How many say you should get it? You understand? This is what we need to be doing. This arms the masses. This takes the struggle and put it right smack dab in the hands of the people. Not the U.S. Congress, not the U.S. government, not the African petty bourgeoisie, not the Democratic Party, but the people. That's what our struggle is. And even when we do what we're doing right now in St. Petersburg, Florida, when Akile is running for office on a reparations demand, it's not just an abstract demand. What it says is concretely, we want the land that you stole from us, that you took in this, where we live, where you destroyed 800 homes of different families, where you destroyed 100 businesses that were there before. We want all that land back. Where you put a baseball dome on top of that and on top of an African cemetery, we want the land back. And not only do we want the land back, we want the resources that are necessary for African people to make something happen in that land that will benefit us in terms of housing and commerce and the rest of that. We want Jordan Park, a land that was given to the African community, given to the city for housing for African people by an African man named Elder Jordan. That's why it's called Jordan Park, that the city is now engaged in privatizing and putting up there to run high-rises up. We want the damn land back. And we're asking everybody in the city of St. Petersburg, white and black, to vote and say that African people should have that land. That's putting the issue back in the hands of the people as opposed to the Congress or anything like that. That's the campaign that we're running. And it's not abstract, it's concrete. And it addresses Africans who can't vote. They say, that's our land. That's the land we should get whether we vote or not. We didn't vote for you to get it. You understand? And so this is put it in the hands of the people. That's the thing that advances the revolutionary project. That's why this is important. The people's demand. And we facilitate the people being able to make that demand. And that empowers us, because nobody can then deny that we are representatives of the people in their demand for reparations and justice, right? So that's what has to happen. It's not a little thing, it's a big old thing. And within the next few days, we need to resolve that so that everywhere you're located, you have these petitions, and I'm happy to have this opportunity to make this statement to you so that you can understand what the significance of the demand is we take it out. We're not saying we're the first person or the first organization that talked about reparations. We're not. Others talked about it. You had these suit-wearing, briefcase-carrying individuals who would go to try to get this congressperson or this legislator or something to say something about reparations. Or they would try to file something that nobody knew any damn thing about. If you weren't a part of some kind of force out there who was doing that kind of work, the people didn't know anything about it. The people have to be brought into this process. And the thing we did was introduce the people to it, one. Two, the other thing that we did was say that we don't want just some reparations for slavery, because that was the favorite topic at that time. They've advanced it beyond that today because of our intervention, because they just said, you remember that. Oronde, don't you remember that? You remember that, comrades. All they did was talk about slavery. We said, slavery, hell? We want reparations for what happened 30 minutes ago. You understand? Talking about, and when they just go with slavery, they liquidate the fact that the rate of exploitation of African people has been greater since slavery than it was during slavery. We want it all. And that's where we are coming from. We're not reasonable. See, you got reasonable people who are trying to deal with these unreasonable enemies of ours. We're not reasonable. Hell, we want it all. We want everything. Listen, even if you're just talking about negotiating, even if you don't believe you can get it all, you don't start off asking for the minimum. You demand the sky. We want the damn sky. You understand? Even if you're just using it as a negotiating strategy. And these clowns, I don't mean that, but. So we have to do this. This is not a little thing. We're in a contest. We're in a contest with the African petty bourgeoisie, with the neo-colonialists, with the liberals, the opportunists who call themselves socialists and what have you, the ones who are running for president in the Democratic Party. InPDUM, the party, the African working classes, is in a contest with them, and the question is who will be victorious. That's what we are dealing with. That's why, and if the line is correct, our line is correct. Now, once you work out the line, what is important now? The question is organization, right? Organizational question now is the one that we have to work out. The line is correct. But the line doesn't mean a damn thing if we don't organize to get it to the working class. Uhuru. Yeah.
Uhuru, Chairman, you can stay. You next. I want to appreciate Chairman. We gotta move it. Go ahead.
I took all of that time, I think.
Well, the Q&A can't, we have to overturn the contradiction.
Is there a way the certificate can be printed online and also on the Africans Charged Genocide website as well, so people who go to sign the petition?
Uhuru, yeah, that's what we have to, in the next couple of days, we're going to lay out what we were supposed to do here, and it's going to have to be available on our international page, on our website, and an email to all of our members of the whole layout. What we have to do will be sent out. Shin, you want to say anything?
Yeah. I'm extremely self-critical. I struggled with this piece, trying to find the right documentation to bring forth, and kept getting dead ends. And what I didn't do and what I should have did was brought it to my leadership and let them know that I'm having problems trying to find what I need to really bring the presentation that should have been here. So I'm gonna rededicate myself to this question and really find, go out, and if we have to, ask the chairman if we got to create the strategy or recreate the documentation to do so, but don't, hold on to it myself and, try to solve it and, bring that kind of presentation. Because like Columbia said, this should have been where we're laying out the strategy detail for detail, so you guys could take that, so you comrades could take that, to your cities and work and build this campaign. Uhuru.
Uhuru, so next on the program, Chairman is call for Chairman Uhuru.
First thing I want to say, you went to the right person when you went to Gaida Kambon, because she was there in the mix when we organized and to make that happen. Gaida was there, and Comrade Oronde was there. And I think there's probably somebody in the Solidarity Movement. Penny Hess was there. Kitty Riley was there, and Raya Fogarty. Raya Fogarty went to jail during that time because on the way to one of the meetings building for that, she saw the pigs beating up a Puerto Rican, and she jumped on the pigs and what have you, and missed the damn meeting, and I never forgave her for that. Comrades, at this time, we want to do, and I am self-critical to Comrade President Kalambayi because this was not on the program. This is a discussion that I had with Comrade Vincent Lawrence a while ago, and because Vincent Lawrence, like most thinking forces, Africans who trying to deal with the colonial legacy, wanted to abandon the colonial name designation that has been given to us. And so we had talked about making that happen and finding the opportune time, that is to say, a conference of some sort such as this. And I didn't know Vincent Lawrence was going to be here for this convention. And so I did not make arrangements to have it put on the agenda. But Vincent Lawrence is here, and he wants to, he sees this whole name issue as a colonial question, and it is a colonial question. And so part of the struggle against colonialism is bringing ourselves back into history, and as opposed to his story, right? And his story is one that our oppressors, our colonizers, have treated us like pets and animals and given us the name that we should have. They've named whole territories where Africans exist and live. You know, that's why you have a nigger area and people calling ourselves shrimp and all other kinds of things like that because we've been named by colonial powers. And one of the first things that people do when they become conscious of this contradiction, is they rid themselves of this colonial name. And most of us wouldn't want to carry the name of our oppressors. So names are really important to everybody, but certainly to African people. Names attach us to history going back millennia, thousands and thousands of years. And names like Mary Jane, they don't work for us. You understand? The truth of the matter is that there is a tradition, a naming tradition in the African world. And so that we find that Africans give ourselves names, and it's usually something that's participated in by the community, and certainly it's usually something that African women play a primary role in dealing with. So names that mean something. And you will find, especially in some places like Ghana, somebody who's born on a certain day would have a particular kind of name. It means something, right? You will find that people who are twins would often have particular names that's related to the fact that they were twins or they were born early. My grandson was given a name. I've forgotten what his parents named him. But I call him Mashombe, which is a name that comes from Congo, Lingala, and it means born early. He was premature. It means something. There's some connection to something, and then we give names based on our expectations, our aspirations for our children. Our children then have the ability to have something to live up to. I don't know how the hell you live up to James. But this is a tradition that people have. And so there are many variations, or there are several variations on the continent of Africa in terms of the naming ceremony itself. But one thing that is common, not necessarily universal, but common, is that names are something that the people have an opportunity in the community, in the village, to participate in. And so it's not usually just a thing that an individual does. And so when we talk about names, people have an opportunity to make a determination whether a name is fitting. If Comrade Vincent Lawrence would come up, I would really appreciate it. Comrade Vincent Lawrence, I don't like to be subjective publicly, but I have so much love for this brother. Like I said, he's a founding member of our party, and I do have a deep attachment to that fact, and you should too. He is a photographer. He has been a photographer for years because the co-founder, who was his leader with the Black Rights Fighters, give him a camera and say, take some pictures, because we have a newspaper that they were creating. He's been taking pictures ever since, and that's been about 50 years or so. He now works in the Department of Agitation and Propaganda. He has been here for a long time, and he never left the party, but he was not active, but he was indirectly connected to the party, because I would see him all the time watching us and things like that. So we talk about a name, and this is what I'm suggesting, and Vincent hadn't heard this before. But I'm saying it to Vincent. Of course, he has to approve the name. I mean, it's not Junebug. And there's a name in Kisonge. It's in Kisonge. It's the name comes. It's a Kisonge name from the Democratic Republic of Congo, and it means. And the name is. Inyindu, and it means hammer. Inyindu, it means hammer. And then as the first name, and a second name, Mbela, which has one name among the Douala in Cameroon, that means eagle or falcon. But in Lingala, the same name means it warns others, sound the alert. And it seems to me that's part of what Agitprop is all about. That's part of what he is about, alerting and warning others. And then there's another name which has an ancient Egyptian root. But it's used in various parts of Africa, and it is Inyungusha, and it means agitate the situation, agitate things, stir it up, and what have you. So. Inyindu, Mbela, Inyungusha. Inyindu, Mbela, Inyungusha. And you can call them Inyindu, you can call them Mbela, you can call them Inyungusha. You can call them all of those things, and you can come up with a nickname for that. So here's the name. Inyindu, Mbela, Inyungusha. Inyindu, Mbela, Inyungusha. Inyindu, Mbela, Inyungusha. All right. Yeah. Inyindu. Yeah. So this is the hammer that sounds the alert. This is the hammer that sounds the alert and agitates the situation. Stir it up. Yeah. Stir it up. Yeah. So how you feel about that, comrade?
It sounds okay to me.
And so, if it seems to meet the approval of the community, the village, and Inyindu himself approves of it, then we have here a certificate of rebirth. Right on. A rebirth certificate, if you will, for Inyindu, Mbela, Inyungusha, and this is on behalf of the African Nation and the African People's Socialist Party. We present this certificate of rebirth to Comrade formerly known as Vincent Lawrence, and now we proudly refer to as Inyindu. You want to say anything?
Well, I appreciate the chairman doing this. That just kind of make me think back that we did some research on the family, and my great-grandmother, who was born the same year as Marcus Garvey, was 1887. She lived to be 105. She died in 92. But her dad's name was Fortune Mills. I just wonder what his name. He was born in slavery.
Okay.
We got pictures of him, but and when he was released or whatever you want to call it, he built ships and stuff, sailboats and stuff. We did a lot of research on it, but I just wonder what his name was before then.
Yeah.
But we searched the records and found out what.
Yeah, right on. Yeah. Well, it's splendid, comrades. Yeah. So, yeah. Uhuru. Comrades, the Constitution of the African People's Socialist Party gives me the responsibility of naming the president of the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement. And this responsibility falls on me because the fact is that InPDUM, the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement, is a revolutionary organization. It's a revolutionary organization that engages in democratic struggles, but it's not a civil rights organization. We're not going back to a civil rights movement. We've been there, done that, right? And it was going beyond the civil rights movement that took us into a place where it became clear that we have to have a revolutionary party that would take us beyond simply demanding for rights within the social system. But the fact is that there are issues of reform that we can make in the process of making the revolution. The thing is that we must not become reformists. We can continue to be revolutionaries and using reform as a stepping stone in order to make revolution. But for that to happen, then the organization, a democratic organization, has to be under the leadership of the Revolutionary Party. And that is why the president of the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement is appointed by the chair of the African People's Socialist Party. As you know, for the last year, Comrade Kalambayi has been the president of this organization. She was not the first president. There have been other presidents, and some of you knew other presidents, and some of the other presidents, most of them, faced severe criticisms, and they couldn't hold the fort. They couldn't maintain the stance. They couldn't carry out the work that had to be carried out in order to make this revolution. And then there was Comrade Kalambayi that we met 5 years ago. And we met her 5 years ago. She was this annoying person that was following me in a demonstration in Ferguson, asking questions and what have you, and really not super annoying, but asking questions, and I really wasn't certain she'd ever, make the contact again. We got her contact information because we were organizers, and that's what you're supposed to do. And it was some struggles in the beginning because of a certain hesitancy that she had in being able to move beyond some philosophical limitations that our oppressors impose on us. But she broke through that. And our first president was a comrade woman here locally for whom I shall always be appreciative because when the party, when the uprisings occurred on Canfield Drive by these courageous Africans who were saying, kill the police after Mike Brown was murdered in broad daylight, and a determination was made that I needed to get into this place, this mysterious place called Ferguson, which was really a part of St. Louis, and then we had to determine who the hell did we know in St. Louis, And we went through, Comrade Akile, we went through the subscription list of the Burning Spear newspaper and discovered this sister named Denise Love. Justice, Denise Justice. And I thought it was a made-up name. I thought it was one of those names, you know, like how we name ourselves, Justice and what have you, but it was a real person. And I contacted her, and she said, I'll take half the day off. You can come in. I'll introduce you to people and what have you. And she did that. And she became the first president, local president of the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement here. And another woman, if you will. And then we met this incredible woman who, Comrade Kalambayi. Her name was Herdosha, and I never forget, I asked her what her name was, and she said Herdosha, and I said, where does that come from? She said, oh, I think it's Greek, you know. She's kind of proud of that. It's a Greek. It don't look exactly Greek to me, but anyway, she took on this work in a very serious way. She was always dynamic, always in motion, always trying to get the answers, always trying to bring other people into the process. And she was afraid to do some things, like others here. I mean, when we first said that we were going to do the black people's grand jury, after the white people's grand jury wouldn't indict this guy, Makeda, you know what I'm talking about. And we said, yeah, Foots, we can do this. And we asked these comrades to go ahead and we're going to do it. And then they called me about 30 minutes later, you know, we can't do that, you understand? And I mean, this is, but they did do it. And I remember the process of talking Kalambayi into how to deal with the owner of the venue that we finally got. Because the question is, we got to rent this venue, you got to make this deal, you got to go in there and seal it and what have you. And she did it. She made the deal. And so Kalambayi has been a soldier ever since. And she's run into difficulties because she was new to political life. She was new to political life. She was no posier who was some black nationalist, some revolutionary who knew all the answers. She was in the Christian church. She was somebody who was an evangelist on top of that in the Christian church. And so there were some things that she had, some hurdles that she had to cross in order to take on this responsibility. And then she had 2 children, right? And she did all of that. And you heard some things about her story, about the horrors that colonialism imposed on her brothers and the kinds of stuff she had, her father, the kinds of things that she had to live with. She is stone working class. We say, you know, and it was easy for us to believe that this sister could do it. And there were times, of course, when she's become discouraged because the system has imposed certain kinds of limitations on her. But what she's got going for her is so much greater than the limitations, and that's the real thing. People have tried to use these limitations as means of shaming her, outing her, or something to that effect, but what she's got going for her, I mean, Kalambayi, we've seen Kalambayi go into a funeral and turn the funeral into a Black Power rally. You understand? I mean, we saw that. Didn't we see that? Yeah, we saw that. So we downstairs having a convention. Downstairs, the funeral is happening upstairs, and Kalambayi is known to be out there dealing with all these issues around this uprising. And she goes upstairs and was asked to speak, and she makes a revolutionary presentation, and the funeral turned into a Black Power rally, and she left that Black Power rally and then came downstairs to the Black Power rally that we had organized. I mean, this is who we are talking about, right? And so I just want to say that there's nothing more significant than we can do. There's nothing better than we can do than to call, to make the statement that Comrade Columbai Andernet has been reappointed as president of the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement. Uhuru.
Uhuru. Uhuru. Uhuru. I love my name. My middle name is Mofi, and Mofi means the one that stayed.
The one that stayed. Before Comrade President begins the presentation, I made a serious error in not saying that Comrade Louise Kinshasa, who is Secretary General of the African Socialist International, played the dominant role in helping to select the name that we have just chosen for Comrade Mbela.
I know, Comrade. It took me a minute too. About a month. It took me about a month to learn my own name, okay? I wrote it on the mirror everywhere. I wrote it like Louise is good with, breaking it down for you. And I had it broke down for me to learn how to say it. I had my comrade saying my name better than me for a while. But Columbai means brave, never give up. And Mofi means the one that stayed. And Antoinette means unity with the people. Man, a powerful name. I appreciate the chair. And your name don't mean that that's who I was when they met me. But that means that's what the African nations say I have to be. And I remind myself of that, even when I don't feel like Columbai or Mofi. I'm not superwoman. You know what I'm saying? I'm African working class. Because a lot of times people try to act like, well, that's Columbai, or you, like I'm some superhero, and I'm not. I'm just like you. You know what I'm saying? And the same stance that I have, you know what I'm saying, if it's a stance that I take, it's a stance that somebody else could take. Chairman's stance is one to be emulated. And so I look to Chairman to say, I know I can do it, you know what I'm saying? And any contradiction that I face, I know that he had faced it, you know what I'm saying? And he got through it, and he's still here, so I can be here too, because he ain't Superman either, you know what I'm saying? So we revolutionaries. So I appreciate being re-nominated, and I rededicate myself to InPDUM over and over and over again. And I want to take InPDUM to the next level, and we got a lot of hard work. We have work to do, and we're going to do it because we're going to build branches, and we're not going to be comfortable with being in the area where it's just us. We don't have to criticize that, you know what I'm saying, and we don't have to really recruit. We have to have rallies, and we have to be an African community with tables, and we have to think outside the box. One thing that I know this year that I try to spend a lot of time outside of the four walls and with the people, doing what the people doing, what are the people saying, and that's what we have to really be able to do. So I wanted now I need a team of people, because it's about organization. One individual is just one individual, and I know that when I first became the president, I wanted to just be heroic and just it was all, I was just trying to do all these things, and I understand that I have to have a team, And so I want to put forth, we have some nominations, and so do everybody have their voting card? If you don't have a voting card, raise your hand. We have some. Okay. Can you pass these out 4 feet to everybody? And everybody that, this you have to be a member. It's no such thing as a member by association. It's no such thing that I was a member 25 years ago, so I'm still a member. It's no such thing as, I'm Chairman's cousin or friend or Columbai's mama. No. You have to be a paid member. It's a political question. It's very important for all of us to pay to be members of InPDUM. So we're going to vote on a couple of things. Could I ask Chiriniso to come up and help me with this? Did she leave? Okay. As they pass out the voters card, the first thing is we have to vote on our slate. So we have roles on the IEC. And the first role is secretary. So for the last 3 years, Chiriniso was my secretary, and she's no longer going to be the secretary. So this is a new position. And I wanted to nominate Chiriniso. Thank you. Yeah. So I wanted to nominate Jashan out of San Diego to be the secretary for the IEC. And the reason, so Jashan has been on the IEC. As he, told his story, it was times where I did not see Jashan on my IEC. Someone had nominated him from a role at the convention. And, this comrade took a real principled stance and said, I can't do that right now. But he did leave that convention and, rededicate himself and said that he didn't want to have to say that again. And, he really overturned contradictions. And we and Jashan talk daily. In a lot of ways, we kind of function alike. That's the only issue. Like, who's going to be structure? So, but Jashan, he has very good secretary skills, and he understands my schedule, and he has the flexibility to be, because I'm a full-time revolutionary, and so he has the flexibility to be able to be, I wake up, Chiriniso will tell you, I'll call you at 12 o'clock at night because I woke up with something. Or I'll wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I wake up every morning. Yeah, I wake up, yeah. I'm asleep at 12. But I'm up at 6 and 5 every morning, trying to, organize or trying to see how we can move this work forward. So, Jashan, can you come to the front? As we find Jashan. Every member that's outside should be in here doing this time. This is really important. Yeah, even security should come inside and shut the door and lock the door. Uhuru. Uhuru. So this is my slate, but if you feel that you want to nominate somebody, you can, and say why they should be the international secretary. The international secretary is the heart of the whole organization. They are responsible to send out the agenda. They work really closely with the president. They send out the agenda. They stay on top of everybody's tasks to make sure that everything's completed. They handle my my day-to-day work and my schedule, making sure that they this tour that we are doing, Jashan will be playing a major role in making sure that everything is laid out for me to get into a city. That I don't get to the airport and I don't got a ticket, or I don't make it to a city and ain't nobody there to pick me up. Crazy stuff like that. So he got to become in Kenya, and them big shoes to fill. Chief. And so the next role on the IEC is my economic development coordinator, and this is the person that is the most entrusted person, because they have to make sure that a salary is there, that the bills get paid, that we get brochures into areas, that we get banners, that we have everything that we need as the international office, because everything we need economics for everything. And so this person is very important, and I cannot call on anybody else. And I'm telling you, I didn't know if she could do it, and she didn't know if she can do it. But since she's been in this role, I have been able to get a salary, which had not happened since I had been the president, and she made that happen. And she, I don't know, crazy people that talk about stuff that they don't know about, but I've been secured in living in one of the party houses for the last year, beautiful home, very nice, and I appreciate Fofi because she do her job very, very well with thinking outside of the box on, politically, not just trying to solve the problem on herself, because there have been a contradiction in the past with certain economic development coordinators. But it's a question of organization, all these different questions. So I really appreciate Comrade Feet. One day she gonna get rid of 4 Feet and get an African name. 4 Feet. I was like, where is she at? And you know, when 5 years ago when I met 4 Feet, she paid my membership because by the time I met the party, I had already quit my job and was like protesting like every single day. You know, like the party never asked me to quit my job. I made that decision on my own in Ferguson when I had walked off that job and said I couldn't even focus on what was happening in Ferguson. And 4 Feet paid my membership the first time. Well, first of all, she was trying to pay my membership and didn't want a membership. And so Gaida wasn't gonna have it no other way. That she joined, and she was like, well, listen, I'm gonna give a membership. Don't put my name on no papers. Don't send me no emails. And I think about if I want to come to y'all meetings or not. She's like, because I'm a nurse, y'all ain't ready to jeopardize my job, my livelihood. I got this plan, I travel, I don't know. And now she in the party. So security, do we have a replacement to replace my next candidate? Akimba. So we met Akimba. He's in my sponsorship in the Northeast region, and he organized in New York and Philly. And this comrade is dope. You know, he truly, truly is. And I can't really say enough about him. Like, he take on every task, and he's never like, oh no, I can't do that. You know, like, you know, he's building the One African Nation marketplace. You know, he's organizing in New York with them forces. He's organizing in Philly. And what I really judge a man's character is when you're being criticized. You know, like, I really like to see how people handle criticism. Because you see people turn into big babies and crybabies. I mean, the strongest, toughest people. Oh, man, I mean, or the skinniest, wimpiest people, too. You know, it don't matter, you know. And so Akimba, I really was impressed when this comrade received the criticism and how he handled it. He wanted to be so principled about it. And he was self-critical, and he was like, I'm going to overturn this contradiction. And, you know, I really appreciate Akimba, so I think that he's perfect, you know, to be over outreach, you know what I'm saying, what he just really embodies, so in the international office as our outreach coordinator. And Dexter. Dexter been on the IEC for 3 years now? Has it been 3 years? Oh, 2 years. He said 3 years. 2 years. Okay, so you've been, on my IEC for 1 year, huh? Oh, man, you know what? That's because this, man, Dexter, me and him on box, we done been in some rings. Come on up. You know, and Dexter, you know, one thing I tell people that you cannot be in the party, and it's gonna be real hard to work with me, because if you ain't honest, we can't struggle. And one of the things that I love about Comrade Dexter, Info and Ed, is Dexter is honest. And he understands his own contradictions, you know, being an individual and just really understanding organization and fighting for that process, and really, you know, united with the political line to say that whatever I have to do to go to war with myself, I'm willing to do. And this what this comrade, I mean, just really tremendously, just leaps and bounds have overturned contradictions in a tremendous way. And, you know, just to be transparent, you know, Dexter did security at a club. And he worked nights, and our IEC meeting was at that same hour. And, you know, it was an issue getting Dexter on the calls. And I'm like, I don't care. You know, I'm not playing second best to nobody's plantation job. See, that's why y'all might not want to be on IEC. You know what I'm saying? You might want to work under somebody's leadership, because, you know, like, we got to do this work because we have to get all our information out. And Dexter made that happen. You know what I'm saying? He made that happen. He made that struggle. He took it on. He was texting. I mean, I ain't never been in meetings like this. Dexter on the call at work, on mute, and he texting all his, tell Columbine, Chiriniso is like, Dexter just texted and said, he said he's self-critical, and he'll get that in next week. His reports is in. He makes sure his report in, you know, and he made it happen. And this is what you have to do. You know what I'm saying? He had to be on the plantation job, and he had to be in the meeting. He made that happen. Uhuru. That's the African working class. That's bad. And membership is a very important role. And the membership, Ushindi, and you know, Ushindi is in my sponsorship right now as well. And one thing that we actually been going over is dialect materialism, and you know, because dialect materialism help us to even understand our membership, you know, how to recruit, strategies, tactics, and more importantly, through sponsorship. I think that Ushindi had been around the party, been in the party before, left the party, came back to the party, you know, and been on my IEC and been under other people's leadership. And, you know, Ushindi has a way of looking at the work to be able to bring a lot of fluff, but he understanding more and more that that's not going to suffice. And it's going to be super critical for us to really have a real process. And in the last meeting that we had, Ushindi said to me, he said, Columbai, he said, I'm running towards the party with all my contradictions. I can't run away. You know, and I appreciate that, because I have contradictions, and, you know, I struggle, you know what I'm saying? I get criticized. Like, sometimes I feel like, do anybody else want one of these whoopings? You know what I'm saying? You know, but I have learned to really, 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 really appreciate criticisms. You know, I really appreciate it, because I have been around the party long enough, and I understand that, you know, chairman entrusted InPDUM to me, and every time I get a criticism from chairman or anybody from the central committee, it's because they know that I can take it. You know what I'm saying? And I want to be able to take it, because I want to be able to be free, and I want African people to be free. And so if the party is calling on me to lead this work, then I have to open my arms for every criticism and say, beat it out of me. I want to be one. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we have to all just surrender our will, you know, to make this work happen. And, like, you know, criticism is a beautiful act of love that revolutionaries do, because it works both ways. People have to be able to know that they can criticize you. Sometimes people have to tiptoe around you. Like, I expose it, and, you know, let your comrades help us move this work forward. And so I really appreciate Ushindi, because, you know, and Ushindi will tell you in the last couple of months, man, you know, he exactly. You know what I'm saying? It's because I know that Ushindi could do it. You know what I'm saying? I know that he can do it, and I'm still entrusting membership, which we have took since I've been appointed president. Where membership is today is crazy what Chiriniso have done with it. And we can't go backwards. We're going to move this work forward. And I know that Ushindi could do that. So this is the slate that I'm putting forth. It's different. Chiriniso, stand over there. She not on the IEC no more. This is my IEC. Well, if y'all unite with this slate that I'm putting forth, it's different, because usually every IEC that I have had in the last 5 years was all women. Man! Woo! Woo! He said, don't leave them upstairs in the office. I have a whole fashion show. They waiting for me to come and get them. Man. You know, but I go in the bush with any of these men any day. You know what I'm saying? I truly do, because we don't see gender at the end of the day, you know, so I'm just joking. I appreciate these comrades. Y'all better get some women under y'all leadership. Quick, secretaries, women. No. But this is the slate, comrades. So do anybody oppose any of these positions, or want to raise anybody else up for any of the nominations? Okay. So I want to, how did this go? Chimaranga used to do this. He's not here.
Current President, I'd like to move that we accept the slate that you've just put forward for the IEC of the International People's Democratic Movement.
Do I have a second? Thank you. Uhuru. Okay. Okay. Okay, so we want to, by the show of your hands of your voting cards, and Trimisa, can you count them? We have to count them for it to go to record. Okay. Somebody's getting a picture. Okay. Getting a picture of the votes. Okay. Okay. Hold on. Keep you up. Okay. So you can put your cards down. So I can move to accept this slate as the new 2020 IEC of the International People Democratic Uhuru Movement. Uhuru. Thank you. Okay, so now we're going to open up our Constitution. And so we have, the first thing that we're going to vote on is that we wanted to change the student level membership. So right now it's the unemployed student level. That's what it is called. And we wanted to rename it.
In honor of Musa, we wanted to change the membership level to the Musa Abantu membership level.
Musa Bantu. Uhuru. So, is somebody, Chairman, do that again. Okay, by the show of hands, can I see the vote? You put your voting card up. It's the same. That's everybody. Uhuru. So that would go in effect from Monday, tomorrow. So Monday, starting tomorrow on our international website and our paperwork and everything will rename the student level membership in honor of Musa. And Musa was a student and he was unemployed. And so that's why we wanted to name that level, Uhuru. So the next thing we wanted to vote on is that the basic level membership is $35. And we were looking at the cost of living and the conditions of African people in St. Louis and everywhere. And we took in consideration of that, and we wanted to change the 35 level yearly membership to $25 for the cost of living. And so now y'all think about that. Do y'all think that, y'all ask yourself, the question. And so, so by the show of your voting card, if you want to vote to accept that, to change the level. Oh, this is interesting. Okay. So we had a counting. Okay, 23. And by the show, if we should stay at 35, because I see it's some people that feel differently. If you think we should keep it at 35, raise your voting card. 1, 2, 3. Eight. So it was 8 for no and for 23 for yes. So it will change because the 23 won over the not vote. So we will change the level from 35 to 25. So the next thing is I really need everybody to really pay attention to this next thing that we're about to vote for. So in South Africa, we have been building tremendously and fast. And so our Constitution was limited on how we seen our international work. And so we wanted to read this amendment that we wanted to change to the Constitution when we look at our international work, not only in South Africa, but even abroad. And listening to New York's report and understanding even in New York this will affect places like that where we have multiple branches and how we see it. So please listen to the wording of what we will be changing it to.
And I'm just going to read it as it's written. I have given some thought to the question of structural makeup of InPDUM when we are organizing outside of the United States. The initial constitution of InPDUM was created under the assumption that InPDUM was to be a national organization. Originally called the National People's Democratic Uhuru Movement, we became the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement in 2000 with the creation of a branch in London, England. Since we established InPDUM in England, we have made some attempt to build in Azania. The efforts in Azania has become more significant within the last year. The building of a party organization in Azania has facilitated building InPDUM there. This dynamic international work has now also created questions as to the structure of the national organizations in relationship to the international organization. To address this question, we propose that the international president, Columbai Antoinette, use policy directives to give instruction to our international forces on how their structures will work. The policy directives gives the following instruction. International president is the overall leader of InPDUM. Each country will have a national president. Each region will have a regional vice president. This structure would include the U.S. region as well. In some countries, the regional designation may consist of a province. The terminology will differ from country to country, so the national presidents will report to the international president on a monthly basis. The national president's report will consist of the activities of the regions and the branches within the region. National dues will be established depending on the economic circumstances particular to that country. The national presidents will be primarily responsible for building the national conventions in each country. The national convention will occur at least every 2 years. The International Executive Committee may call international conventions, that which would call on the national presidents and regional vice presidents within each country to attend as delegates. The basic leadership structure is laid out in the InPDUM Constitution, will be the structure used in each branch. The national organizations will create a constitution based on the constitution of the international organization. This is the basic proposal for consideration.
Any discussion? You got some, yeah, come on. You have to get the mic, okay.
Testing. Yeah, excuse me if I missed this, but the international president, how are they chosen?
The international president will be chosen. Yeah, so that's the international president will be chosen by the chair in like Africa, like ASI.
The African Socialist International will be choosing the international president. Yes, right. So my question is then, if you're the international president and now each area has their own national president, will there then be a national president for the United States, or would you function in both capacities?
Yeah, and that was the question what I was seeing when New York was talking about all these different branches. Would they have a national president? Will we have a national president like in New York? Would New York have a national president?
New York wouldn't even be like the United States of America. America is the national piece. So you're the international president. You're a president over everything else in the world. And so if South Africa, which is its own, country, occupied Azania, own country, has a national president there, The same for United States. Would it have its national president, which would be separate from you? Or would you function as both the national president of the United States and the international president over everything? Or would you appoint somebody or elect somebody who could be the national president of the United States?
Chairman.
Let me put it that way. Because the chair of the African Socialist International is also the chair of the African People's Socialist Party in the United States. Yeah? So it doesn't have to be that complicated, right? So, I mean...
One thing the Constitution say, it already speaks to having a vice president if the international president, so, you know, if I want to appoint somebody as the vice president, I don't think we ever did, but it talks about that. If you read the Constitution, it's in the folders, in your folders. It talks about a vice president. I don't think we ever had a vice president from what I know. We haven't had a vice president. So, no, we're not gonna have an international president right now. I mean, a national president yeah, I'm both right now. Yeah. But we might have to get to that, y'all. We got 2,000 members. Yeah, we're gonna get to that. Next. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Any other question? Any other discussion? Somebody want to move it? Call the question. That's the word I was thinking. Somebody want to call the question? Call the question. Okay. Everybody that's in favor of the reading of the amendment. And the record shows that it looks like it's an unanimous vote. So our brothers and sisters in Africa, South Africa will get this amendment, and we'll send this out to them as soon as possible so everybody can know who our national presidents are. We seen them on the screen. That's what they were pointing out, you know, all the different presidents and the national president in South Africa. Uhuru. That wasn't as stressful as I thought I was making it. So those are all the amendments, but now I open it up to the floor for anything that anybody else want to raise around the Constitution. Uhuru. All right, comrades. So we can close this out. That's the end of Fofi. Okay, Fofi want to bring the total. Well, I want to appreciate everybody, and that's why it's important to be a member of InPDUM and what we just done. And so now we can carry these things out. Now we have a new student level, and we changed the fee for the membership to $25. Uhuru.
Thank you. For the InPDUM Convention, The Struggle is Real, 2019, we had a total of $9,782. We're short $218.
Come on, black people, united!
We'll never be defeated.
No surrender? No surrender?
No compromise.
Okay, who just got $200 to say, I'm done with this?
Uhuru! 5 students.
5 students. So that's 5, so 10, that's $50. $50. Uhuru! Marcus Gorman.
Wait a minute.
Oh, the student level is $10. The $25 is just the regular membership. So you want to do general membership.
Uhuru! That's 125. That's 125. I need some. Oh, man.
125 minus 218. That's a 20 right there.
$93.
We got 20 right here.
$73.
Another 20.
$20. Oh, wait a minute.
$5 a month sustainer. Okay,
Uhuru. We made it.
We made it.
$10,000. We made it, comrades. Uhuru. Hey, and you know what?
We are winning.
Yeah.
Uhuru.
How does the national president of InPDUM in the various countries get appointed?
How do they get appointed? So, what is this? The chair of the ASI, the national president of South in that area. So, like in South Africa, what's his name? Tafari appointed the national president. Yeah, so he the chair of the party. Tory. Okay. Uhuru. That was a question I asked Chimaranga. Yeah, that's what I asked Chimaranga. And so that's what Chimaranga was saying, that whatever area it is, the chair in that area that is appointed by you, that person is appointed by you, they will appoint the national president. If it's no chair, then they appointed by me. Yeah, I asked that too. Yeah. So, mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Testing. Okay. In the midst of all this fighting, all the movement, all the battles, we have to remember, first and foremost, you got to take care of each other. You got to love each other. That's all I wanted to say. Take care of each other. Take care of the black people. Take care of your Africans, man. We got to come together and take care of each other first, and everything else will fall in suit.
If anybody have jumper cables, can you let your Troyer know someone is in need of help? So if you have any jumper cables, Chipavu, Chicago Forces need some jumper cables. So if you have jumper cables in your car, if you could help them out. Okay. So just a couple of final announcements. Comrades, we are leaving this convention, and we want to mobilize in big, big numbers to BIB November the 2nd and the 3rd. You know, we want InPDUM to be big. We want every area to have their banners and mobilize to D.C. So that's November the 2nd and the 3rd. And we're going to be calling meetings around that. Akimba, the outreach coordinator, is going to be taking it on to make sure that we want to mobilize. So let's get ready to go to D.C. in big numbers, November the 2nd and the 3rd. And another announcement, where is New York? Somebody. Arande? No, it wasn't Arande. It was Rafiq. Okay, he might be okay. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I did everything I was supposed to when I got up here. Okay, well, comrades, I just really want to appreciate you for getting yourself here to the convention. This has been a dynamic convention. I want to salute our leadership, Chairman Amala Yeshatela. Uhuru. I want to salute and appreciate Deputy Chair Onizane Yeshatela in her absence, but presence is thick up in here. So I just want to appreciate Deputy Chair Onizane Yeshatela too. And, for the live stream, it wasn't live when we had nominated the comrades that got the worthy of immolation, and that was Deputy Chair Onizene Yeshatela, and a Kenye out of Deputy Chair out of Chairman's office, Chief, and Akile, Anai, and Chachara, and this, I'm not even going there. All these comrades are amazing, and they are so worthy of immolation. So if you're trying to figure out, find you a role model, look to all of them to, be just like. And I want to appreciate everybody. So let's go back into our areas and give them hell. Fist up! Right back. Fist up! Right back. Comrades, it's so important for us to take these folders back with you. And, let's fight for these this tour. We're going to give you all the information around the reparations. Let's table. Let's sell the burning spirit. Let's get ourselves to November 2nd and the 3rd. Uhuru? We gonna beat y'all though. St. Louis. Okay, St. Louis be doing it. Okay, I plan to bring a bus, New York, and y'all in the north, right? All right, game time. Uhuru. 110.
Oh, pardon me, y'all. It's one of the comrades. One of the comrades outside, they needed a boost, and when I was trying to help that out. But I wanted to get back up here because it was something I had forgotten to mention. When we started to do, recently, in our meetings, we began to do testimonials again. This way the people that, in the community, they can come in and they can talk about what it is and so on and so forth that's happening in their lives they want to address and so on. And, amongst those things, I had somebody come in and talk about some stuff, but what I really wanted to deal with was there's one situation where, the cops, the FBI had busted in somebody's house, assisting the projects. She's up in there, she's minding her business, and she's got her children in there, 5 and 6 years old, and they come busting up in there and whatnot, flashlights, AK-47s and so on. And they came in there because they had tracked this brother by his phone. The brother that was up there, Rakim Bolagoon, out in East New York. They had him locked up for about 5 months in Texas at first. They let him out, and they just tracked him over here. And, they snatched him out of the apartment over there and told her, look, if you say anything, we're going to take your kids, all that kind of thing. The reason I'm mentioning this to you is that we all black identity extremists. I know I am, by their definition. So the point is, we had decided that we're going to initiate a campaign that has to do with, one, bringing to the masses the whole issue of that designation. They changed that designation from black identity extremists recently to racially motivated violent extremists. And they did that because they was under scrutiny because of the name itself. And then what they did with that was they don't just have the people that protesting against the cops and the state and so on and so forth for the violence that they imposing on them and so on and so forth, but they're lumping us together, the people that protest, they're lumping us together with the white folks that shooting up the whole damn school and the whole movie theater and all that kind of thing. All these white nationalists is going around, is wilding out. Everybody's under that new characterization now. Racially motivated violent extremists. So they went up in there, snatched him out of there. This was last month, late last month, because they said that he put on a post when Makai X Johnson, when that was like that 5th anniversary of that, he texted something on Facebook or social media saying something favorable about Makai X Johnson, and for that, they ran up on him. You know what I mean? Because he's a military guy. He was in the Marines. He's in the martial arts. He got a gun club out there in Texas. He's from Dallas. And they perceive him as being somebody who can, get people to learn how to defend themselves and so on. And, that seems to be a problem for them. But the point is that whatever I think, and if whatever anybody else in here say anything, so on and so forth, having phones tapped, all that kind of thing. They could get me tomorrow. They could be waiting for me outside when I get home. You know, and I really, I know this. They could do it to any of us. So my point is, I wanted to bring it to the masses. I want to bring it to basically to the body, and have us all go back and understanding what's going on in East New York, Brooklyn. You know, it's not. You know, it happened to him a few months ago in Houston, Texas, and so on. And we're in New York. We're going to build a campaign around what they did to the sister in terms of violating her, busting up in her house. Her children are traumatized now. Every time they hear a noise in the hallway, they're like, "You got a warrant?" They're like 5 and 6 years old. They reacting in the fearful kind of way that they had to react when that incident occurred, and so on and so forth. So we're going to initiate a campaign around that. I guess it's a little late to see what kind of solidarity we could gain and so on. So what I'll do is, like, based on the people that I met and the people that okay, all right. So yeah, well, I just wanted to bring that to the people. Uhuru.
Uhuru, comrades, the 2019 convention is adjourned. Uhuru. I said that word right, huh? Visit the vendors. Don't just shop Black Power. Go spend some dollars with the vendors. I believe